Good evening and welcome to the Maple Plains City Council meeting. It is Monday, August 28th at 7 p.m. and I call the meeting to order. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to note that Councilmember DeLuca is absent this evening. He is welcoming to the world a new grandson, so we are very excited for him, and he will join us as he is able. So if he walks in late, that is why, and family first. So congrats to the DeLucas on the new grandbaby. Looking for a motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Francis.
I'll second.
Second by Fay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. First item of business this evening is visitors to be heard. And this is public comment, and public comment is a courtesy extended to persons wishing to address the city council who would like to comment on something that is not part of a public hearing. The public is invited to express any concerns they may have which are relevant to the affairs, policies, or practices of the city of Maple Plain. Speakers may approach the podium one time to make remarks that shall be limited to 3 minutes. Should you wish to participate in public comment, please state your name and address before addressing the council, and all remarks will be made from the podium and should be made to the council as a whole. Personal attacks are prohibited, as are obscene, profane, and threatening language. Public comment is not a time for council discussion or response, but for hearing the speaker's concerns only. Questions to the council will be for clarification. If necessary, a staff report on public comment subjects will be prepared for the next city council business meeting. Welcome to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Don Gasper, 1514 Prairie Land Avenue, Maple Plain. I had the honor of plowing the streets last winter, and when I was plowing the streets, there was a few places that were having a little problem with trees starting to interfere with the operation of the truck. There's a few streets. I got Maple Ridge Drive is one. The east end of West Main Street, the trees are growing out into the road. Along Parkview Road, there's a few trees that wouldn't hurt to be trimmed back. And Willow Street, which is down along the southerly part of town, it's getting awful hard to drive down that street. I know you have a wing on your truck, but it's get to the point that there is no lane or anything. You drive down one side or the other, you're beating the truck up with tree branches. And there's another Wyman Avenue. The Wyman Avenue and Maple Ridge Avenue, the branches are hanging down. They're low, and with the coming of the winter, we're gonna, I believe it's gonna get, we're gonna have more wetter snowfalls. So what happens when they get the wet snow on the trees, they come hang down, and it's hard to drive underneath them with the dump truck without wrecking the lights on the top or taking out a mirror or something like that. The east end of West Main Street is where the trees are growing out. It's getting harder to get the snow over to the edge. That West Main Street and can't remember what the name of that street that it's a short street. Spring Avenue. That street is a little bit of a hard street to plow because of that apartment building in the corner. The people, they have their cars are out into the road a little bit, and it's hard to get through there. without wiping out a bunch of bushes. But last fall, I had, there was that one wet snowfall, I couldn't use the wing on the truck because of the wetness. The snow just stuck to the wing. So I had a hard time, so I had to just do everything with the front plow. And so this summer when me and my dog were out walking around, I had a city map and I marked out spots where trees need to be trimmed. So I just thought I'd bring it up to the council and see what some kind of plan to trim trees. I know the city put it in the minutes a while back about people trimming their trees, but I don't know if anybody really trimmed. There is a few places on Bryant Street and where Joyce Street, there's an arborvitae that's right along the edge of the curb. And with the wet snow, that arborvitae hung way out into the road. So I wasn't able to get the snow all the way to the curb. But I don't know what the city regs are on for trees and brush along the road, if there's a set limit or what you plan. So, but I just thought I'd bring it up, and I can let you guys have the map here to see where the areas are. And I guess that's about all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gasper.
Yep.
We will have staff be in contact with you.
Oh, to find out about all you'd have to do is drive down along the curb with the dump truck, and that'll tell you, you'll know where trimming will need to be done. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. No other visitors to be heard this evening? Okay. Next item of business is the consent agenda. Our consent agenda is before you, and it contains multiple minutes.
I have one concern for July 13th
Okay,
minutes.
let's pull July 13th.
Page 7 of the packet.
Any other concerns?
August 14th special council workshop.
August 14th special. All right, so with July 13th and August 14th special workshop being pulled, I'm looking for a motion to approve all the other minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Francis,
Second.
second by Fay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Councilmember Burak, could you please speak to the July 13th minutes and why you pulled those?
Yes, let me just get back to it.
Mhm.
Absent council member Francis and DeLuca.
Oh,
Present council members Fay and DeLuca. I was absent.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to speak on that, Mayor Moskowski pointed that out to me actually, I think yesterday or today. So that's been fixed on our back end. So that's
That's
just
fine.
incorrect in the minutes. But thank you for pointing it out because
Yeah.
it's good
It
to
was
know.
fixed in the new packet, so I didn't say anything. That's okay. I'm glad, it's good to know people are reading them. Councilmember Fay, August 14th special workshop
okay,
minutes.
discussion A, potential fire district. The last sentence of that says Attorney Landsman reviewed the JPA to assist the council in understanding what would occur in the event that it was disbanded. We also then directed staff to schedule a joint meeting between the cities of Maple Plain and Independence, did we not?
Yes, we
Yes.
did, and they
Okay.
have been working on that.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that gets
Oh, added to the minutes.
to it.
Okay.
That direction was to schedule a joint meeting between the two cities. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so with the two corrections noted, I am looking for a motion to approve the July 13th minutes and the August 14th special workshop minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
Second.
second by Fay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business this evening is our accounts payable, and those are before us. Let me get to the right page. First item is to approve the city check batch in the amount of $225,648.64. I'm looking for a motion to,
There's a change to that, right? We're going to not pay the $25 that's on page 5, the
Oh.
very first one?
correct, we are moving the registration fee for the Minnesota Mayors Association. Since I'm on the board, I do not have to pay the registration fee. So
Thank you, Mayor.
that $25.
Okay.
Sorry, we just had our board meeting last week and these were already out.
Can someone clarify to me, mowing the Veteran Memorial Park area by crosswalk?
Yeah.
Paying the City of Independence, what is that all about?
That is where they, oh, I'm sorry. Madam Mayor, am I on? Yes.
Yep.
That happened to be where Independence, we asked them to come back and trim that area. There was a safety issue that was brought up by both, I believe, the fire chief and police chief. There was some issue with not cleared area to walk, or they couldn't see the children on their bicycles. So we asked Independence, and they said that they could do it. We didn't think they were going to charge us,
Oh,
but they
okay.
did. Mhm.
Otherwise, we would have done it ourselves?
Well, Dylan had gone out there afterwards and trimmed more of it, but in talking with Mark, he said that they had to put the mower back on. Had we asked earlier in the year, there wouldn't have been a charge.
Okay.
We thought it was a neighborly gesture and then we received a bill.
We did.
So because we didn't communicate, we need to pay the bill
Right.
because the work was done.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions about that? Thank you.
Okay. So looking for a motion to approve the city check batch.
With those, with that deletion and that comment, I'll make the motion to approve the
Mo-
city check back.
Motion by Fay,
I'll second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item is to approve the fire partnership check batch tonight totaling $13,056.28.
A comment first, and this would probably direct it to staff, and that is the find this, the itemization of what it is we're paying for is missing on many of the fire batch entries. Alex Air Apparatus, stretchers, American Test Center, Gopher Ace, Napa. Is it, it doesn't need to happen now, but is it possible to remind either staff or the FD to make sure that their payments include a itemization for what it is we're paying for instead of just the company?
Itemization, we'll do that.
You let them know.
Anything else, Councilmember Fay?
That is it.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve the fire partnership check batch.
So moved.
Moved by Francis,
I'll second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business this evening is our staff reports. We have staff reports submitted from our city planner, West Hennepin Public Safety, our city engineer, Public Works, Fire Department, and Administration and Finance. Those have all been in our packet and are online as well, and we've had a chance to review them. If there are no questions or discussion from council, I'm looking for a motion to accept the staff reports as written and submitted.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Francis, second by Councilmember Fay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business this evening is new business, our 2024 street improvements feasibility study. And I'm going to invite our engineer, David Martini, to the podium, please.
Good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. As requested, we put together a proposal to complete the feasibility study for the 2024 street improvements. The streets that we've been discussing have been Independence Street from Bud to Howard Avenue out in front of City Hall here. The Howard Avenue cul-de-sac north of Drake Street. We've been looking and discussing a mill and overlay on that portion of road. And then Bryant Street and Wyman Avenue south of Highway 12. The scope that we've put together here is for the feasibility study, which would include putting cost estimates together, a cost apportionment for the project, preliminary assessment roll, because this is going to, or is proposed to be assessed. We would run through the 429 process as we've done in the past with street projects. We've also proposed, as we've done in the past, that we'd have an open house during sometime during the preparation of the feasibility study, have a chance to meet with the affected property owners, get some comments if there's any items of concern that we should be considering as we're filing things up. And then ultimately we would have, we'd present that feasibility study to the council, order an improvement hearing where again the affected property owners would be invited in, again fill them in on the details of the feasibility report, cost of the project, the apportionment, and again that preliminary assessment roll, give them a chance to comment on the project. At that point, if the council chooses to move forward with the project, you would accept the feasibility study and order the improvements, and at that point we'd move into design work for the job. We've also in this included topographic survey and soil borings. The survey is intended to get the information we need so we can create our base maps for the project, and then also allows us to get some accurate quantities for the feasibility study in preparation of our cost estimates. The soil borings, because these are proposed to be full depth reconstruction with utilities, getting some soil borings so that we can understand the types of soil that we'll be dealing with, identify anything that may be of concern or have to be removed during the process that isn't suitable for the road. With all that, we've given you a fee estimate, proposed not to exceed fee of $63,650. And then we have received a couple quotes for soil borings. The low quote we received was from Haugo for $6,450. And so, assuming that you'd like to continue with this process, we'd ask that you approve the proposal tonight so that we can begin work for next year's project.
Questions or clarification for our engineer?
Yes. Dave, you're asking for us to approve better part of about $70,000 tonight, which doesn't, we're gonna be required to do a special benefit analysis if we're going to doing some assessing, and then, you know, you're gonna get 20% to manage the project once it gets under construction. Have we ever done a topographic and soil boring on any street project in Maple Plain under your tenure?
For sure, the topographic survey. I'm trying to recall if we did the soil borings at this stage or if we had waited until we move forward with the project. The last project, the 2021 project, we gave you a proposal. That was feasibility study, the topographic work, and design work. In that project, we had I guess an area that we were pretty confident we were going to be moving forward with. So we had actually given you a proposal all the way through design for that one. This one, because we have the two separate areas and the costs are fairly significant, we stopped at the feasibility study stage with the idea that if you decided to not move forward with the whole project, that we would adjust and and give you a proposal that was appropriate for the portion of the project that you want to move forward with. So the soil borings, I'd have to go back and look at what point we did that in the process, but for sure the topographic survey was included last time.
Well, it sounds like that $30,000 component is more to let you determine what the cost of this scope is.
It would give us, well, two things. One, it certainly allows us to get more accurate quantities because we have that detailed information that we can draw from to measure water utilities, the sewer, the area of the road, curb and gutter, those sorts of things. But it also then anticipating moving into design, that's the information that we use for our base drawing and preparing our plan sheets. If we didn't do the topo, we could certainly still move forward the feasibility study. We would just add some time in there to go out physically measure the roads, get the quantities that way without that information. But we could still proceed through feasibility study without that if that's what you
So we
choose.
could go through the feasibility study, which is the $33,550. We could order up the public hearings. Refresh my memory, do we do special benefit analysis prior to those public hearings or post those public hearings?
Last time it was kind of concurrent with the design, if I recall.
Because that's a separate entity altogether.
That was
You
a
don't
separate
do those.
entity,
That's a-
and I haven't
You have to hire
included
someone
that,
else.
and that actually probably, we should have some discussion about that. If you recall the last project, the information we received, I don't think was entirely what we were hoping to get out of that process, so we probably should just talk about that before we move forward with that, but yes.
Well, I would prefer to move forward. Obviously, we directed on the feasibility analysis a couple weeks back, which you've quoted here.
Mhm.
I don't know if we need to incur the cost for the soil borings and the topography at this point of the game.
The one thing I will say, and part of the reason for including it this time is, it is nice for us to get that work on the schedule and start working on that while the weather's still nice. If we wait through till the improvement hearing, which is perfectly fine, it just pushes us in the fall and potentially early
Well,
winter.
give me
to
a
get that
worst case
done.
scenario. What would a topography, or what would a soil boring tell you that you would do differently in a road construction?
If we encountered soils that weren't suitable to put back in the hole, we'd plan to have them removed and replaced.
But you didn't do it on Howard, you didn't do it on Gladview, you didn't do it on any other steep street project. Didn't do soil borings, you didn't do any of that analysis, soil analysis.
I'd have to look. I'm not so sure that that's the case.
I don't know why we wouldn't do it, because eventually we're gonna have to do it. So to keep the project moving, I would think we would just do it all at the same time. Unless I'm not tracking something.
Well, what I would say is if you're not comfortable with the soil borings at this time, I'd prefer to leave that off than the topography if we could. But again, we'll take your direction on that. From a project timeline standpoint, it's nice for us to get that done up front. If one of the segments gets delayed, that work does not go to waste or have to be redone. It's still there for when we do the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because no matter what, they'll be done eventually. It's just a matter of when.
Right. And for reference, again, when we move forward with the 2021 project, what was approved at that time was $160-some thousand not to exceed, and that got us through design. Again, we've broken it up to stop after the feasibility study, just to make sure that we understand the scope of the design before we give you that fee estimate.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So we have before us two motions this evening. The first is to approve the not-to-exceed fee to Bolton and Mink for the scope of services in the 2024 street improvement projects in the amount of $63,650.
I'll make that motion because that's information to give a better plan of what we need, right?
We will feel more comfortable with the
Okay.
information, yes.
Then I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek, second by Fay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. The second motion before us this evening is the motion to approve the geotechnical service from Haugo in the amount of $6,450.
And that's for the soil borings?
It's the soil borings, yes.
Okay.
Which could be done pre-construction.
We could delay that if you would feel more comfortable with that. Again, it all goes into trying to estimate quantities if we were to identify something that was unsuitable. But if you wanted more clarity on what we've done on previous projects, I will
I will make
go back
that
and look at
motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Moskowski, second by Francis. Any further discussion?
To continue with the geo boring? Okay.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Martini, for being here this evening. Next item of new business is prohibition of cannabis and tobacco in city parks. And I'm going to turn this over to our assistant, to the city administrator, Grant, for a summary.
Honorable Mayor and Council, this has been an ongoing discussion at previous workshops, but as you're aware, on August 1st, cannabis was legalized in Minnesota, and so we looked into potentially preparing an ordinance that would not allow the use of that in our public parks and playgrounds. Attorney Scott Landsman has prepared that ordinance, and he wanted us to note that in drafting that ordinance, he did not see a section of the code that prohibited tobacco use in the parks as well. So he's grouped those together in this single ordinance to knock out two birds with one stone. So that's prepared. The following pages are those, or is that ordinance for your review.
And I know we discussed this at length at a workshop, but does anyone have any questions or clarification for staff? So currently, all of our parks are tobacco and alcohol-free. Now we would be adding cannabis, and we are bringing our code up to speed, it looks like, as well, for the public. So with that, the motion is to approve an ordinance amending Maple Plains City Code Title 9, Chapter 95 to prohibit smoking, vaping, or other use of cannabis and tobacco product in public parks and playgrounds.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Fay,
Second.
second by Councilmember Francis. Any discussion? Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of new business is health benefits and agent of record. And I will turn that back over to staff again.
Honorable Mayor and Council, staff has been looking into health benefits that will be offered for city employees in 2024. Council asked that we look at some different groups this year to see what options are out there. And through those discussions, Council sounded like they wanted to go with Krause and Anderson for health benefits. So part of that process is formally approving them as the agent of record for health benefits. And that includes having to sign some documents that were in, I guess, the workshop. I'm realizing they're not in the packet right now. But, oh, John, you might have a question, one sec. But just formal approval would be for those letters stating that Krause and Anderson will be handling the broker duties for health benefits for the city. John, if you had, or Councilmember.
So-
I for some reason, I only have 63.
Our packets were updated, so if you didn't download it
Oh.
again, you wouldn't have it.
This was something, my apologies, this was something that Councilmember DeLuca and Mayor Moskowski asked to be added to the packet today. In the past, we didn't see, in the past 5 years, us ever approving an agent of record, but seeing as this was a change, they asked that this be added for a formal approval. So this was updated on the website and so forth, and then sent in today's updated packet.
Questions for staff? All right, so the motion is, looking for a motion to approve the signing of the agent of record form officially declaring Kraus and Anderson as the city's benefits health insurance broker.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. The July financial report, I believe, did we approve that as part of administration and finance? Nope, it's separate. And I have to be honest, this was just added today and I have not had a chance to review it,
That's
so I don't know if other people have, and I'll abstain.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask,
Table it.
can we table that till next month?
Sure.
Just because I don't want to approve something that I haven't had a chance
I'll
to
make a
read.
motion to table the financial, July financials.
Motion by Fay to table July financial report,
I'll second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries 4-0. The last item of new business this evening is to go into closed session with our attorney to discuss pending litigation. This session will be closed pursuant to Minnesota statute, section 13D05, subdivision 3B, to discuss matters permitted by the attorney-client privilege pertaining to pending litigation between the City of Maple Plain and Kurt K. Kroll and Associates Incorporated, DBA Collision Corner. So looking for a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion? All in favor of going into closed session signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. We are going into closed session at 7:32. All right, the time is 7:47. I am looking for a motion to come out of closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
Second.
second by Francis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries 5-0. All right, so we are out of closed session. Next item is council reports and other business. Who would like to start tonight?
Council report.
I'll go ahead and start.
All right.
Lot with the budget, a lot that has come up. Watershed was pretty light. It was just more of a recap of what has been going on throughout the watershed district. But I'm excited to be part of the budget process.
All right, thank you.
One unique issue, we had Fire Relief Association earlier in the month. The Relief Association's returns are a lot better this year. They're in the 4.5% to 5.5% range, which doesn't surprise me given where rates are right now. Still very conservatively invested, but it certainly looks like a good year for us.
Thank you. Councilmember Fay?
Well, I am looking at my phone because my computer died, so. Relatively quiet month, but I'm assuming that's due to the waning days of summer. I've attended weekly Orono Rotary, with the final one in an exec meeting scheduled for this Thursday. With all of you, I've attended a pair of special workshops, one for budgeting, the other for defining options for potential fire district. I do feel the 2024 budget is in good hands, and I think we're on track to put a fair one together. I've attended a couple of workshops, including the one prior to this meeting, and then of course tonight's business meeting, and then all the prep and reading and research and stuff that goes into getting ready for this meeting in the first place. So enjoy it.
Thank you. Councilmember Francis?
So I don't have a lot to add. I went to the fire relief meeting. They do have a former firefighter who is submitting paperwork for a payout. So they're working on that. They're also going to be looking to see if fire relief can meet on President's Day for a future meeting. So just waiting to hear for that, because they've put out their schedule for meetings for 2024. And one happens to fall on President's Day. Attended budget workshops, regular workshop, and now the business meeting. All in all, it's been kind of a quiet month.
All right, sounds good. Yes, it is definitely summer. There's been a lot more social things than meetings, but still a lot going on. Was able to represent Maple Plain and attend the Delno Senior Center meeting. They are very excited about the bus, which is just a huge blessing and perk to our residents as well. Was able to attend the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee, and we are just really, we have a new director, so we're trying to work on some visioning and goal setting, and as you know, with the elections, the Hennepin County with criminal justice, let's just say, is all over the board. So the right people are at the table, it's just a matter of getting us all to work together. As everyone's already mentioned, it is budget season. I have the privilege of being part of all three budgets, so police, fire, and city. So if you saw me sometimes in my head was spinning, that was why. Some good news, we did have a police commission meeting, that all went well. Last week, we had an interview with an officer, a potential officer, and that officer will be moving forward. So hopeful
Awesome.
that everything will continue to move in the right direction. So it's a very intense process. First, they have an informal interview with some officers, then they have a formal interview with the 2 sergeants and the 2 mayors, and then they have a chief's interview, and then you go forward to all the background check and everything. So this person is moving along, so hopefully it will be a good fit. Was able to attend the summer barbecue at Haven Homes and mingle with some residents. Was able to attend the night 2 night parties. We had 7 of them in Maple Plain. I know I saw some other council members out as well that evening. West Hennepin Chamber of Commerce, we still had our traditional meeting, but we did a summer picnic in the park, and then each member did highlights, so it's kind of fun, learned some things about some businesses in town. I was able to attend the 33rd Polo Classic and welcome everyone to Independence in Maple Plain and mingle with that. The museum held their ice cream social fundraiser, which is always a fun time just to hear the history and visit with them. One thing with the West Hennepin Chamber of Commerce I wanted to mention, we did talk about the upcoming truck and treat, which will happen on October 28th. So think about if you'd like to decorate a trunk or donate anything to that. And then just some fun things coming up. Well, most of them are fun, in September. September 7th is Battle of the Badges. So it's our police versus fire, our hometown heroes at 6 p.m. in Veterans Memorial Park. On September 8th, Congressman Phillips, in partnership with the Orno Rotary, will be doing a Vietnam Veterans Pinning Ceremony. So if you know of a Vietnam vet or a family member who would be honored to receive that in lieu of their deceased Vietnam vet, please reach out to Congressman Phillips' office or to myself or Councilmember Fay, and we can get you connected with that. And then on September 18th, from 4 to 6 p.m. here in the council chambers, we will have a welcome for our new city administrator, Jacob Colander, who will be starting September 5th. So those are the fun things coming up, and I believe you have a cookies coming up as well.
We do on the 11th.
The 11th? Okay, here, right?
Correct.
What time?
4:30.
Sorry. Okay, so cookies with Councilmember DeLuca on the 11th, another fun thing coming up. And then tonight, I want to, on behalf of all the council and the residents, thank Grant for his time and for his service, for his willingness to learn and to pitch in and just to truly be a team player. And you really have stepped up in the transition as well, and it has been fun to see you soar. I'm sad that you'll be soaring to a different city, but it will be fun to see where your future takes you, and just really appreciate your commitment to Maple Plain and your service, and you will be missed, so thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
And then to Shirley has been our interim in this transition as well, and I know this is your last meeting with us. Shirley's last day will be September 11th. So not sure if you'll be at our meeting that night or not, but that's not recorded. So just want to acknowledge you as well for carrying us through this transition and filling in the pieces. And as John Fay, Councilmember Fay would always say, keeping the ship from imploding. So I think you did a great job at that. So we were sailing along. So
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and Council. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. And best of luck.
thank you. There's a lot going on. Yes, so with
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
are there any other council reports or other business? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Francis,
I'll second.
second by Burek. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 5-0. The meeting's adjourned at 7:55.